Hello Magic fans, I'm Beef and welcome back to another Historic Brawl gameplay video, and today we are playing Vnwxt, Verbose Host. I think that's how it's pronounced, Vnwxt. He is a 2-mana 0/4 homunculus with Start Your Engines, and this is actually, I think, a really fun deck to build and really interesting deck to build because... So let's go over his max speed ability quickly. So he's got Start Your Engines, and which is a new mechanic from Drift. We've seen it a few times on my channel before. First time you play a Start Your Engines card, you go to 1 speed. Then the first time an opponent loses life on your turn, you increase your speed by 1, and you have a max speed of 4. So you can only go up by a maximum of 1 a turn. And then pretty much all the Start Your Engines cards has a benefit when you get to max speed. But as we saw last week with Samut, there are a couple of cards which have a benefit that changes depending on your speed. So Vnwxt's max speed ability is if you would draw a card, you draw 2 cards instead, and he also gives you no max hand size. So this is incredibly powerful because drawing extra cards is great. And for those who don't know, the way card draw works, if you have a spell or an ability that causes you to draw multiple cards, so let's say you level up a wizard class to level 2 and you draw 2 cards, or you cast Archmage's Charm and select the... Where is my Archmage's Charm? I think I've got it in my... The Archmage's Charm, and you select the target player draws 2. It sees each card draw as an individual occurrence of card draw. So when you draw 2 cards, you don't draw 2 cards once, you draw 1 card twice, meaning that if you have Vnwxt out and you're at max speed, you will draw 4 cards. So that's why it's really powerful as well. And there's no limit to it. Doesn't, it's not like first time you would draw a card, you draw 2 cards or whatever. You can do it on your opponent's turn, you can do it on your turn. So it's just great. But the interesting thing is, max speed and Start Your Engines is generally a bit of an aggro mechanic. You need to get in to damage your opponent. And blue is actually really good at this, but it's not known for it. Obviously, mono blue decks in Brawl are usually heavily control decks, and we are control as well, but we do have a lot of creatures. And when I first, mastered it together, I think I had 50 creatures. Now we're down to 28, so I've shifted it down a bit. But what blue is really good at is creatures with evasion, mainly flying, or creatures that just cannot be blocked. And this is what our first pile here is, our evasive creatures. Most of them 1 mana. Well, just over half 1 mana. Some are 2 mana. So things like Futurist Operative, which is a 0/4, but when it taps, so when it's attacking, it becomes a 1/1 and can't be blocked. Flyer, flyer, flyer. Can't be blocked. Can't be blocked. Flyer. Can't be blocked if you pay an extra 1, so it's not ideal, but it's better than nothing. Flyer, and Fairy Mastermind has a huge amount of upside as well. Can't be blocked, hexproof, flyer, and connive, which also draws you cards. Can't be blocked with a huge host of upside. Can't be blocked if attacking alone, and then flyer, but also can come as a copy of another creature. So the idea is we want ideally one of our 1-drops turn 1, play out Vnwxt turn 2, and then immediately attack and get up to 2 speed, and then 3 speed on turn 3, 4 speed on turn 4, and then we'll just start drawing multiple cards. If we don't have a 1-drop in our opening hand, but we have one of our 2-drops, it's not the end of the world. We 2-drop on turn 2, Vnwxt on turn 3. So next up, we have all our card draw cards, and you've seen most of these in blue decks. Brainstorm. Combat Research is really good. One of the annoying things about Vnwxt, it's a 0/4, so A, it can't grow speed itself, and while it's a decent blocker, especially in the early game, 0 power is annoying. So because Combat Research gives an enchanted legendary creature +1/+1 and ward 1, we can put it on Vnwxt, and then if it attacks, it can increase its speed, but also it does draw a card whenever the creature does combat damage to player. So we can put it on one of our evasive creatures anyway. We also have Curiosity, which does exactly the same thing, apart from it doesn't have the buff for legendary creatures. Consider Mindswing Merfolk's another new card. We can exhaust it by playing 2 blue and an X to draw X cards. So even if if we're max speed, even just putting 1 on this, we draw 2, so that's not bad. And then we do put a +1/+1 on each Merfolk we control. I think we have 3 Merfolks. Opt to choose Think Twice. Kaito we can get down and +1 to draw and discard and cause a creature to not be blocked. Maybe Vnwxt. And then whenever we deal combat damage to a player, it gets a lowered counter, so we can get that quite high. Archmage's Charm to counter a spell, draw 2 cards. I think we probably use this to draw 2 cards because that's sometimes more powerful than countering a spell. Palantir of Orthank's really interesting because it can cause our opponent to take damage on our turn, which means it can trigger increasing speed. Archmaven Emeritus to draw cards whenever we cast an instant sorcery. Enduring Curiosity to draw a card whenever we deal combat damage to a player, which obviously all our creatures are evasive. Teferi's Aegis Insight. If we would draw a card except the first one we draw in each of our draw sets, we draw 2 cards instead. So if we have Vnwxt out and we draw 2 for our draw set, that second one should trigger Teferi, causing us to draw an extra one. So we should draw 3 from our draw step, and then all our draw spells will draw a lot more as well, 3 as well. And the File of Dreams, we can pay. It does mean we can pay 2 life instead of paying a blue in any of our blue permanents. And then whenever we cast a blue permanent spell, we draw a card. And next up, we have our card draw payoffs, and then some of our finishers. So Wizard class, when we level it up to max, we put a +1/+1 counter type creature whenever we draw a card. Emrakul's Messenger, when we draw a second card each turn, we create a 0/1 Eldrazi Spawn. Fairy Vandal, when we draw a second card each turn, we put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Mischievous Mystic, second card, we create a 1/1 fairy creature token flying. Ominous Seas, whenever we draw a card, we put a Foreshadow counter on the enchantment, and then we can move 8 Foreshadow counters to create an 8/8 blue Kraken creature token. Proph's Eidetic Memory is just really, really powerful. When it enters, we do draw a card. It also gives us no maximum hand size, and we're going to have a combat in our turn. If we've drawn more than 1 card this turn, we put X +1/+1 counters on target creature we control, where X is the number of cards you've drawn this turn, -1. So the turn it comes down, even if we're not at max speed, it'll pay 1 counter on a creature because we're drawing a card for our turn and then 1 for Proft. But if we've got Vnwxt out and at max speed and we play it, we're adding 2, and the more card draw spells we play, the more counters we put on, and this happens every turn as well. Thopter Mechanic, when we draw a second card, we put a +1/+1 counter on the creature, and when it dies, we create a 1/1 colorless Thopter creature. And then Thopter Fabricator, when we draw a second card each turn, we create a 1/1 Thopter. And then our finishers all related to card draw as well. Nadir Kraken, whenever we draw a card, we may pay 1. If we do, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature and create a 1/1 blue tentacle creature token. So every time we draw, we can pay 1 and we get an extra 2/2s worth of power. 1/1 on the Kraken and 1/1 as a separate creature. And this isn't limited, so if we draw in 2 with Vnwxt, then we can pay 2 and just grow this as well. Homunculus Horde is just absolutely bonkers. It's basically the blue Scoot Swarm. Whenever we draw a second card each turn, we create a token copy of this creature, and that copy will have the same ability. So if we're drawing 2 a turn with Vnwxt, we're just exponentially growing our board, and this is a great creature for Silent Hall Creeper to turn into once we've exhausted the other 2 abilities. Anerophage is a 1/2 fly for 4, which is crap, but whenever we draw a card, we put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. So unlike Fairy Vandal only triggers once when we draw a second card each turn. This draw triggers on every single draw. Then Teferi, Temporal Pilgrim. Whenever we draw a card, we put a loyalty counter on Teferi. So again, our loyalty is going to go quite high. We can draw a card with 0, increasing its loyalty, and then -2 to create a 2/2 Spirit token, which when we draw a card, we put a +1/+1 counter on it, and then we can -12 to wipe our opponent's board, basically. Psychosis Crawler, whenever we draw a card, each opponent loses 1 life, and its power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards in our hand. Next up, we have a bit of ramp. Chrome Mox, Arcane Signet, Sapphire Medallion, Solemn Simulacrum. Next up, all the interaction. So Rapid Hybridization, which is recently new on Arena in Pioneer Masters, which is, I think, one of the only blue destroy target creature cards, the only one on Arena. Our opponent does get a 3/3 green frog lizard creature token, but that's probably weaker than whatever we destroy. And then just loads of counter spells. We do go over Essence Capture as a counter spell, which can only counter creature spells, but we do put a +1/+1 counter on up to 1 type creature we control. So a great way to buff our unblockable creatures or evasive creatures, or maybe put a counter on Vnwxt so it's a bit better at blocking and attacking. And we do have the big, Desertion is a great way to steal our opponent's commander, and then Commandeer, we can just steal a non-creature spell as well. And we do have River's Rebuke and Cyclonic Rift as well. And next up, just general good stuff. Secret Restoration to draw, Time Warp to take an extra turn, Hydroelectric Specimen, probably play it as a land, but on the few times if our opponent tries to take out Vnwxt, we can flash it in and change the target to the specimen. Or if they play a pump spell on one of their creatures, we can do that as well. Mana base is, as you expect with a lot of mono blue, Castle of Manchester Sky, Hall of Storm Giants is also a bit of a finisher. Mystic Sanctuary, Ottawa, Rivendell, and we do have the fetch lands, because a Mystic Sanctuary counts as an island, if we have 3 islands in play, we might want to get a Mystic Sanctuary to get a instant or sorcery back from our graveyard, and we do have Nixos because we are a mono blue deck. So this is a really, really fun deck. I really, really like it. It's aggro and controlling at the same time, which is an interesting mix, so I do enjoy it as well. Hope you'll enjoy it too, and I'll see you in the gameplay. I think I'm going to mulligan. Well, this is worse. This is better. I think we put back Thopter Mechanic. We do have to be careful of counter spells. I don't think we need... I will keep the Futurist Operative in case they take out Fairy Seer. I think we've got to go for it. It does resolve. Well, that's irritating. At least we can counter something. Well, we'll get down the Operative and hold up Counterspell. We don't particularly want to give I'm fine with that. We don't particularly want to give our opponent a bird because these Fairy Seals. Fairy Seer is not unblockable. The Operative is. If they just row, we counterspell. Goodbye. Hopefully we draw a land soon. I will let that go.
The Prismari. I've heard lots of techniques from artists.
What does Kaya's Kindling do? Oh. We're going to get down Ginger Brute to help tack down Rowan.
Won't hold me back.
And this hold up Archmage's Charm. They have a lot more lands than we do.
The Prismari takes the news.
Well, no land is an issue. Yeah, that's fine. I know Rowan still survives. I don't like going chills down like this.
Now it's my turn. Oh, I'll win by blade or by bolt.
Well, there's some land. Do we have another proliferate? Can't block. Sunny Jim. Probably not the best use of it, seeing as we do hope to close out of the game. If they have to use a counter spell, they have to use a counter spell. We need 2 more lands so we can Cyclonic Rift. Oh, they did draw a one of the Power 9. Draw 2 of the Power 9. Wow. I think we still got to hold up Archmage's Charm. Yeah, that's fine. If they play out their commander, which they can do, we let it go, draw of Archmage's Charm, Cyclonic Rift.
guy in a blue hood around here? You get to be my protege today.
Annoyingly, we don't have any of our finishers on the board. Don't think we could steal one of their mocks as well. I'm not going to, but let's just draw 4. Problem is, they get to rebuy their Oracle of the Alpha. They really didn't like that creature, did they?
Oh yeah, plans coming together.
Yeah, that probably actually was a bit of a whiff on my part.
Thanks for the helping paw. I can invent my way to victory. Careful. Bye-bye.
I don't know why they didn't do that before they played out Row. What do we have in our graveyard that we might want to get back? Archmage's Charm, maybe? Let's play out Wizard class. And we can just hold up, saw it coming. Yeah, I think that Cyclonic Rift was actually a big bit of a whoopsie. So if I had a counter spell, we were in big trouble.
Plans coming together. I can invent my way to victory.
I'm worried they're going to get to ultimate their Row.
Oh yeah, plans coming together.
So we play out Psychosis Crawler. And then Archmage Emeritus. And then we can just hold up various things. But, yeah. Essentially, they need 2 long creature spells.
I have a plan.
Land.
You get to be my protege.
They've got their own Archmage. We will play out Teferi's Age's Insight. And we will level up. Which causes a draw. I don't know how many cards that was. A few. Down to 4. And this should be lethal. We're at 14. He's at 4. How many did that draw? Wait, why only 4? That should have drawn hundreds. Maybe not hundreds, but draw 3 cards. That should be 6 from... Well, it should be 9 from Vnwxt into Teferi. And then another 3 from Archmage. It should be 12, surely, right? I don't know. But it probably just hadn't finished. Well, we have a Ginger Brute. I can't imagine they will block with the Ginger Brute. Sorry, block with their Kytheon. Maybe they will. Let's get in with the Brute. We're up to 3. And next turn I think I'll play out the Horde. That's a bit annoying. And we are up to 4. 4 speed, max speed. They are going to transform Kytheon.
Prepare to defend yourself.
And just see what they do with it.
Deserves to be liberated.
Oh, that's a lot of land. Let's buff up the Stalker. Take down Kytheon.
I have let all of you down.
And next turn we can River's Rebuke or maybe Grover Kraken. Don't need the Ginger Brute anymore. I think I'll just River's Rebuke. Why did that trigger twice? We'll hold back Vnwxt. There's Afterlife too. We will. Oh, because obviously the tokens have exactly the same ability. That makes sense. And yeah, our opponent scoops. We have quite a big board. And we would brainstorm, which I believe we would draw 6 with brainstorm because of Vnwxt. But yeah, because from what I understand, when you draw multiple cards, it is multiple occurrences of drawing a card. So I think it would see draw a card the same 3 times basically. So we could go out and add a Kraken huge, put a huge amount of counters on, well, more counters on Invisible Stalker and just start smashing in. We're doing some blue on blue crime. Oh, we have a turn 1 flyer and then counter spells. So and even a way to get back a counter spell. Well, I'm definitely not playing out Vnwxt. Tempted to mana drain that. Well. We'll counter that. So basically, yeah, they are just a flash deck. Yeah, so next turn we will go for Vnwxt. What do they have? Well, Long River's Pool. to 2 speed. I think we just hold up various counter spells. Goodbye, press the enemy. If they don't do anything, we just crack our clue. Oh, it's a map, isn't it? Not a clue. Oh. We are at max speed. I think then we play out Emrakul's Messenger, or attempt to. That's fine. That's not a problem. Let's see if we can get a counter on Vnwxt. We do. Problem is we are shields down now. What do I get back? Press the enemy. So they can't do cast that yet, obviously. That's fine. As well, keep up 3 steps ahead. The slowest control game going. Get down our Kraken, which is one of our win cons. I think we do have to counter that. They can obviously press the enemy now. Do I imagine they do on Vnwxt? Ooh, if they draw a land, if they don't draw a land, I think we are in good shape. Ah, nuts. We will do both of these. I don't know why they're not playing Press the Enemy. The fact that they can just replay it on their next turn, but that is most of their turn. And if they do replay out Gandalf, we can Ottawa it. Yeah. Fair enough. Not quite lethal. Yeah, and we can just consider on their turn. Obviously, if they've got River's Rebuke or a land and Cyclonic Rift, we are in trouble. But if they had that, I wouldn't have expected them to bout Vnwxt. Crucius is a horrible commander to play against. And there is a combo. I don't think we can keep a one lander. I think we've got a shocking Soporific Springs. But Homunculus Horde is one of our finishers. No counterspells though. Suppose it doesn't really matter. Here comes Crucius. We can bounce it. Let's get out of the seas. Well, and we get down the hold. Yes, this is the combo. Yeah. That was fun. Oh, again, Kutsil, so I'm guessing it's a +1/+1 counters deck. And we have a keepable hand. Herald into Vnwxt. Next turn. Well, that's probably an issue. We'll play out the Hall Creeper because that can let us hopefully draw a card next turn. So we need to hit lands. If they don't have a fetch land, we can block the Scythe Cat Cub with Vnwxt. But if they attack, I assume it means they have something. Oh, they're a cat deck. Alright, well, let's get in with the Herald and the Hall Creeper. We will draw a card, like to hit a land drop. And we were max speed, so we draw 2. Well, we'll get down the Fairy Seer, because this does allow us to scry. Well, we're going to draw 2 next turn anyway, so yeah. We'll hold up Long River's Pool. Or maybe we just opt. Do they have the land for the cub? You don't have any mana. Put a couple of counters on the Hall Creeper. And then next turn it can become a copy of the Anerophage. Yeah. I was not being able to play any spells during our opponent's turn. Slightly irritating, but... we will get back... oh, the only thing we can get back. Well, let's play out Silverblade. And then Wizard's Class. We'll hold back the Anerophage as a pretty decent blocker. And we can opt to instant speed to draw 2, pump in a couple of our creatures. We can even opt and then Long River's Pool. Oh, no, we can't opt, can we? No, that's a... that was a whiff on my part. but I do think we can just win with our Anerophages. These goes up to 7s, hit in, can even draw another 4 by leveling up the wizard class. No, unfortunately we've got to mulligan this. Turn 2 Hall Creeper. In a turn 3 Vnwxt. Not ideal. And we probably hold off Brainstorm for now. Oh, and Prophecy's very, very good as well. Play out Vnwxt, attack with the Hall Creeper. Let's draw. Let's put some counters on it. We can Brainstorm at the end of their turn. We may have to bounce Joyra. Well, I like Homunculus Horde. They might just get a free Mind Stone. Got enough to do this now. Next turn, we play out Homunculus Horde, turn this Hall Creeper into a copy of it. We are at max speed. Well, at least we do have a copy of it. Wow. Still no lands. I think we'll get rid of Fairy Vandal. So I want to keep up Counterspell. Now let's keep up Archmage's Charm. If we can get a land next turn, we just River's Rebuke. depending on what they play. Maybe we don't bother Archmage Charming. Or we do it to draw. Like if let's play a Thought Monitor. I'm fine with that for now. Yeah, I'm fine with that. We will Archmage's Charm to draw 2. Which is draw 4. And I imagine play scoop. Yep. We had... I think we put 2 counters from Prof. No, only 1, because we only draw 1 extra. So we had 4, 10, 13. We had exacts, actually. So, yeah, not bad at all.